I'd rather cry in my Ferrari.
What?
I've seen this quote on social media that people use when discussing whether they'd rather be rich and sad or poor and happy. So they'd rather cry in their Ferrari than what?
A bus?
A plane?
A car?
A train? Come on, guys, this is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book. We could call it Green Money and Gold Tears.
How about the sad man in his expensive car?
Those are some good ideas, but I think we can do better.
Conscious Money School.
But what does crying in a Ferrari have to do with financial literacy?
I was wondering the same thing.
Financial literacy is basically knowing how to manage your money. Yeah, we learned that a couple of classes ago. But many people underestimate the role emotions play in managing your money.
What do you mean?
We like to think that we make most of our money decisions based on logic, because we do. But we make many important money decisions based on emotions.
Oh.
Are you sure about that? Yes, and today we're going to take a deeper dive into the emotional side of financial literacy.
What is the emotional side of financial literacy?
This is realizing that money is not separate from our emotions.
It isn't?
It's realizing that emotions influence many of our huge financial decisions. So if we want to make more conscious money choices, then it would help greatly to understand our emotions.
So emotional literacy is connected to financial literacy?
Yes. I'm not sure I like the sound of this. Why do people buy things?
I have no idea.
Because the thing they buy helps solve a problem? I like that answer, but let's dig a little deeper.
Because the thing they buy helps add value to their life?
Yes, but let's dig even deeper.
Uh-oh.
Most people think they buy based on logic, but that's not true.
It's not?
We buy based on emotions and then rationalize after with logic. I knew I wouldn't like today's class. This might make you uncomfortable, but knowing this gives you a lot of power. So what if we buy based on emotions and then rationalize after with logic? That doesn't mean I'll stop buying stuff. That's true, but it may change the stuff that you do choose to buy.
Interesting.
This realization may change the way you view business, and it may help you become a more conscious consumer.
I guess I need to learn to become more aware of my emotions.
Me too. One activity that can help us become more aware of our emotions is to look at a purchase you made and ask, why did I buy this?
Why did I buy this?
When you ask this, try to identify the main emotion or two involved in that buying decision. This seems pretty hard to do. It might be challenging at first, but it becomes a lot easier through practice over time.
Can we practice now?
Absolutely. Would anyone like to share something they purchased recently? I bought a new video game.
Why did you buy it?
Because I was bored of playing my old games. What emotion do you think caused you to buy it? Does boredom count as an emotion? Yes. Then I think it was boredom.
Come on, Tim. You can do better than that.
Well, I was going through a bad breakup and I wanted to get my mind off of things. Okay, so I figured a new video game would help distract me. Thank you for sharing. Things like that aren't easy to talk about, so I respect your courage.
Me too.
Now try to answer this. Why would someone want to buy a Ferrari? Is that a trick question?
I have no idea since I've never bought a Ferrari.
Maybe they have a lot of money and don't know what else to spend it on.
Maybe they want to impress people who don't care about them.
Maybe they just want a new car. There are a lot of new cars that don't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What is the emotion they feel?
Maybe it's pride or luxury or happiness.
Would buying a Ferrari really make you happy?
For a day or two, I'm sure it would make you really happy.
Really?
But then after that, you'd probably go back to your normal emotional state.
Oh.
So where did this "I'd rather cry in my Ferrari" quote even come from? It seems to have originated from a French author, but it wasn't about Ferraris.
So what was the original quote?
Money may not buy happiness, but I'd rather cry in a Jaguar than on a bus. I agree 100%.
I don't know about that.
How could you even argue with that quote?
What if the bus was made of solid gold?
I like the way you're thinking, Zeno.
Of course you do. You wish you could be more like me, Tim.
Why do people think of crying as a bad thing? Because it is? But what makes you think that? Maybe it's the culture I grew up in. Tell me more. When I grew up, I learned that men shouldn't cry, and men shouldn't show emotions because that makes you weak.
I learned that also.
Although you may believe that to be true, it's not.
It's not?
Crying is a natural part of life. If you feel like crying, then cry, but don't judge yourself for it. Okay. Having conversations about emotions can be uncomfortable for some people, like me. But having conversations about money can be uncomfortable for people as well. I'd rather talk about money than emotions.
I think all of this talk about emotions and crying is making Tim a little uncomfortable.
Don't worry about it. I'm uncomfortable everywhere I go. Deep. Alright, we'll get back to talking more about money. Good. Would you rather be rich and sad or poor and happy?
That's $1 million question right there.
That's a pretty easy question to answer. I'm not so sure about that. I think people will have mixed opinions. I think most people would rather be rich and sad.
I disagree. I think most people would rather be poor and happy.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon in the comment section. I'd rather be rich and sad than poor and happy.
Why?
Well, I'm already miserable, so I figure I'd rather be rich than poor.
I guess that makes sense.
I'm sorry to hear that, Tim, but I disagree with you.
Why?
Although I've never been rich before, I have been depressed. That's not something I'd ever want to experience again. Maybe it would have been better if you were rich.
I don't know about that.
Instead of crying in your bedroom, you could have been crying in your Ferrari. I'd rather cry tears of joy on a bus than tears of sadness in a Ferrari. I guess we disagree then. Your mental health is one of the most valuable assets you have. Come on, Mr. Leonard, can we stop talking about mental health?
Why?
Is it making you uncomfortable? Yeah.
I like talking about mental health. Nobody else seems to want to talk about it, so I'm glad we can talk about it here.
I'm not going to say that mental health is more valuable than money, because it isn't. But I'd argue that mental health is at least as valuable as money. I don't agree with that at all. Money can buy you a Ferrari. Can mental health buy you a Ferrari? I used to take my mental health for granted.
So what changed?
I went through depression, and that period of suffering completely changed my life.
How?
It showed me how little I valued my mental health at the time. It showed me how I was neglecting my emotional needs. I guess I feel the same way right now. Going through depression made me value my mental health more. I would never want to go through that again, and I would never wish for anyone else to experience it.
I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and sad.
Why?
Well, I'm already poor and happy, and I really enjoy my life.
I love that, Zeno. Gosh, what a simpleton.
I know that money is important.
Very important.
And it can help with my survival.
Yes, it can.
But I know that mental health is very important as well.
There are no right or wrong answers. It's up to you to decide what's more important to you, not what's more important to everyone else. Personally, I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and sad.
Same here.
However, I'd rather be rich and happy than poor and happy. Now you're speaking my language.
Wouldn't everyone rather be rich and happy than poor and happy?
Yeah, probably. I value my mental health more than I value money, but I know that not having enough money will affect my mental health negatively.
It's a fine balancing act. Balance, balance, balance.
Gary Vee is one business influencer that values mental health over money.
What did he say?
He said, smiling in your Toyota is way better than crying in your Ferrari. That guy clearly has no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know. He sounds like a pretty wise man to me.
Again, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about knowing what makes you happy and fulfilled as a human. But the purpose of life is not to be happy. It's to make a lot of money.
Who told you that? Money? That's what it wants you to think.
What's worth more to you, money or your happiness? Money.
Happiness.
Why? I want to make a lot of money so I can be self-reliant.
I care more about my happiness than money.
That'll probably change as you get older.
I don't know about that.
Happiness doesn't have a set value. We give it value based on how important it is to us. This will definitely change over time. Maybe I'll care more about my happiness someday, but only after I make a lot of money.
Maybe when you're crying in your Ferrari.
I can only hope. What's worth more to you, money or your mental health?
Money. Mental health.
Why? I really just don't care much about my mental health.
I really just don't care much about money.
I think you have the wrong mindset here.
That's funny because I think you have the wrong mindset.
Each mindset can be valuable in different situations.
What?
It all depends on your goals and what you want to achieve. My goal is to be rich.
My goal is to be happy.
I truly hope you get what you're looking for. If money didn't exist, would you rather be happy or sad?
Happy.
Sad.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Everyone has different preferences. Some people prefer to be happy, while others prefer to be sad. How could anyone prefer to be happy?
How could anyone prefer to be sad?
You'll never be able to truly understand one another until you step into each other's shoes.
Okay, do you want to try it now?
I think I'm good. Maybe another time.